Right now.
A one-year-old boy, a baby, still fighting for his life tonight, and his babysitter, this woman now behind bars, arrested today by Bexar County Sheriff's deputies. That woman's dogs brutally attacked that toddler.
And as the night team's John Paul Barajas reports, it wasn't the first time that authorities had been called out because of those dogs.
Bexar County Animal Control and the Sheriff's Office swarmed a home off Spruce Ridge, not far from Converse, for a life-threatening dog attack on a one-year-old boy.
It's heartbreaking to see anybody in that condition, even more so a one-year-old baby. Pretty severe head injuries. My understanding is that the baby's throat and airway are actually damaged to the point where the baby's not able to breathe through normal means.
Javier Salazar says the child's babysitter, 36-year-old Heather Rodriguez, was supposed to be watching the child.
Are you supposed to be babysitting? Do you know the condition of the one-year-old? Do you care about the condition?
But instead left her 13-year-old daughter alone with the one-year-old. During that time, the dogs forced their way into the room with the baby by pushing through a door that appears to have been chewed through.
It was almost a tug of war for the baby between at least one of the dogs and the little girl.
Now the sheriff is calling the teen a hero for preventing things from being worse. The teen was also hurt, but is believed to be okay. As for the teen's mom,
she seemed to be more concerned with what was going on with those dogs than with the fact that her inaction, her omissions almost caused the death of a baby and still might.
He adds, initially Rodriguez didn't want to turn her dogs over, but after deputies said it was necessary, she was seen helping Bexar County Animal Control load up her XL Bullies, a pit bull mix, but says she has since stopped cooperating. As for neighbors, they tell us they've known the dogs were aggressive.
Describe that feeling. You're in your car, but yet you're still fearful.
Yeah, I was scared in my car. They were barking a lot. They were really loud. They looked really vicious.
This neighbor didn't want to show her face, but reported her run-in back in April. BCSO says at that time, Rodriguez was cited for not having her dogs on leashes.
That's a shame. That's horrible.
According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, Rodriguez is now facing a charge of injury to a child, serious bodily injury by omission, of first-degree felony. And more charges could be coming. Feel any remorse? John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
And we continue to think about that little boy. About an hour ago, we did get an update on the little boy's condition. We hear that he was transferred from BAMC to University Hospital, but he's still in severe condition from the attack.
Tonight, all eyes are on this massive storm. This is an overhead view of Hurricane Milton, a Category 5 hurricane as of this newscast.
And it's headed straight for Florida, an area that, yes, is still picking up the pieces from the last deadly storm, Hurricane Helene. That storm hitting Florida just a little over 2 weeks ago.
Milton greatly strengthening over the last 24 hours in the Gulf of Mexico, expected to make landfall on Wednesday. This is video from the Tampa area earlier today, and you can see the crowds of people leaving the state.
And today, Governor Greg Abbott sent emergency crews and resources to Florida. Adam Caskey is also monitoring that hurricane and is going to join us in just a little bit more with some information.
Coming together in the wake of tragedy. It was 1 year ago today that Hamas terrorists invaded Israel and killed more than 1,200 Israelis and 30 Americans. Tonight, community members gathering at Temple Bethel to remember those who lost their lives in the conflict on both sides. Community members of all faiths and walks of life invited to come out tonight. We spoke with Nami Ichalov, the president of the Jewish Federation of San Antonio. He says tonight's event is all about healing.
Coming together to try and find a place of solace, a place of hope, and a place of belief that we can find peace even after events like that.
He went on to say it's important to remember there are still more than 100 people who have been in captivity since those attacks 1 year ago.
He doesn't rush at him and stab him.
Was it murder or self-defense? That's what a jury has to decide in the trial of a former John Jay High School student who's accused of stabbing his friend and classmate last year. Opening arguments and testimony in this trial began today. 18-year-old John Jay senior Joshua Kinnaman was stabbed to death allegedly by his friend Jesus San Miguel. The state and the defense laid out two versions of what happened on April 4th of 2023. The state is saying that Kinnaman was upset about something that San Miguel said to his girlfriend during lunch break at a restaurant across the school and wanted to fight. The state saying that San Miguel then took out a knife and stabbed him, but the defense says that San Miguel was trying to leave and de-escalate the situation and had to defend himself.
He doesn't rush at him and stab him. He doesn't stab him multiple times. He's standing there with his knife in his hand trying to de-escalate. Jesus has the knife. The guy runs into the knife, basically.
Testimony here continues tomorrow morning. If found guilty, San Miguel faces up to life in prison.
Two murders in the same San Antonio public housing complex last week, and residents there are still shaken. Started on Tuesday at the Victoria Plaza apartments on Barrera Street when a man was found dead during a welfare check. On Friday, another man's body discovered. San Antonio police say 59-year-old Nick Martinez was the man found on Tuesday. He died from a sharp force injury. On Friday, 52-year-old Danelle Sterling was found with a gunshot wound to the head. This all happening at a complex intended for seniors and people with disabilities.
They deserve also the comforts of having a roof over our head, being able to reside in a safe place.
That neighbor you just heard from says she's encouraged by on-site security at the complex since the murders happened. Opportunity Home San Antonio, that owns and operates this complex, sent out a statement saying they are actively assessing security measures at Victoria Plaza.
Switching gears now, raise your hand if you, a friend or a family member has ever been diagnosed with cancer. In South Texas, a lot of hands go up, especially among Latinos. And before we can get into the why and also what we can do about that problem, I want to first introduce you to a survivor. This man was diagnosed with advanced stage cancer years ago, and today he's cancer-free. For 72-year-old Willie Durazo, it's the little things, like laughing, sharing a walk with his wife, or meeting new people that he enjoys most. He can't take those things for granted. In 2021, Willie got sick. He was dealing with stomach pain, which he attributed to diverticulitis. He thought his large intestine was acting up again. His doctor ran tests and then told Willie something he never thought he'd hear.
You got cancer.
What went through your mind?
I wasn't feeling bad. It's the whole thing. I've got cancer, but it can't be that bad. It's what I'm thinking.
Willie was diagnosed with stage 4 diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, a type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The cancer had spread to his abdomen, pelvis, lungs, renal glands, and lymph nodes. His doctor told him without treatment, he had just weeks to live. So Willie didn't waste time.
I told the doctor, I said, well, what can we do? He says, we can get to work on it right away. I said, let's rock and roll.
After months of tests, 6 rounds of chemo, and 18 rounds of radiation, with his loving family at his side, by 2022, Willie got a clean bill of health.
I have one great partner, and she kept me laughing through the whole time.
And you are now cancer-free.
I'm cancer-free.
Looking back, Willie's wife Joy owes that to their support system. Between their doctors and Willie's family, friends, and neighbors, the Durazos had all the help they needed.
If I had, get emotional, it's because of all the angels out there. And we had a lot of costs that we had to pay during that period of time, and they came through. I mean, everywhere. That's what I can't get over still.
Now Willie looks forward to enjoying himself with his kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. He wants people to know that cancer isn't a death sentence, but if you don't feel well, you should see a doctor.
It may not be cancer, it may be something else, but at least you're going to know it's what it is.
And our friend Willie was a patient at the Mays Cancer Center, which is part of the UT Health San Antonio system that is about to open a new hospital right here in San Antonio for cancer patients. So this facility is going to be called the Multi-Specialty and Research Hospital. And happening tomorrow, I'm going to be hosting a town hall and speaking with a panel of experts about that new facility, how it's going to help cancer patients and their families. And also we're going to address the growing rate of cancer among Latinos. So we invite you to join us. It's going to be at 2 p.m. and it's going to be streaming on KSAT.com. The title here is Revolutionizing Cancer Care for South Texans, a New Era of Treatment. We'll see you tomorrow.
Looking ahead, celebrate, honor, and remember people impacted by blood cancers. Join us at Hemisphere Park on October 19th. It's this Saturday. No, it's a couple Saturdays from now for Light the Night. Hundreds of lanterns will illuminate the sky with hope and honor. KSAT reporter Daniela Ibarra will MC the opening ceremony, and it's quite an event. All right, lots to talk about the missions and the team's plans for a new ballpark downtown. Tonight, community members get a chance to voice their opinions on the potential sale of land for that new stadium. It's next on the Night Beat. A 2.3-acre piece of land on Cameron Street near San Pedro Creek Park and West Martin Street. Just one point of contention for neighbors as the Mission's baseball stadium debate continues tonight. San Antonio Independent School District says there's still no decision on whether it will sell that property to the downtown development group Weston Urban. They, along with the San Antonio Missions ownership group, hoping to move that baseball stadium to the west side of downtown. SAISD held a town hall. The night team Zaria Oates shares frustrated neighbors' thoughts about a possible sale.
Dozens of San Antonians expressed how they're feeling at an SAISD town hall. The meeting was supposed to address concerns about Weston Urban's goals to purchase the district-owned property on Cameron Street for the Mission's baseball stadium to move downtown. But neighbors quickly shifted focus to the potential displacement some would face with this move. That's because Weston Urban would have to purchase several pieces of land to put the stadium downtown.
Weston Urban owns the majority of downtown property already.
We deserve to be a part of a district that's going to stand up for them and their family against developers and wealthy individuals.
Have some compassion and think of the people that they're displacing. A lot of the people they're displacing are the most vulnerable in society.
A handful of neighbors do support the stadium moving downtown.
The potential maybe of internships and design opportunities, of community festivals. We're landlocked. We're a landlocked high school. And so the potential of somewhere to run that's safe for our cross-country team that's doing really well.
Myself and my neighbors, we do support the stadium. We don't need any more social-based nonprofits that just come in, take from our community, and then leave.
But several people are worried about the homes that are near where the stadium could end up.
It's going to create traffic issues. It's going to affect our taxes, our property taxes. Isn't it bad enough that we do not make enough money based on what we get paid for us to be able to make a living, and now adding this kind of insult to injury? It's just not okay.
SAISD has not yet agreed to a Memorandum of Understanding, also known as MOU, or any contract to sell the Cameron Street property at this time. However, the city has approved a formal non-binding agreement outlining tentative financing, development, construction, and operations. The county will be considering an MOU similar to the city's on October 8th. Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
So you're probably watching that right now. But, you know, right now, for a lot of people, our hearts, our minds are with the people of Florida. They're getting ready for Hurricane Milton, a Category 5 storm right now. And, Adam, this is coming just weeks after Helene. People there still cleaning up from that. This is no joke.
Yeah, no joke at all, especially with the strength of this hurricane. And luckily, it won't be as strong when it hits the Florida Peninsula, but it's also going to expand in scope, and the size of it is going to broaden, impacting more coastal communities and even some inland areas. Here's the latest from the Hurricane Center. Max sustained winds at 165 miles per hour. That's actually down from 180 earlier this afternoon and evening. Pressure at 914 millibars. That's up a little bit. It went from a Cat 1 to a Cat 5 in 18 hours. That's the second fastest on record in the Atlantic Basin. And notice how you can't really see the eye as well this evening as you could earlier today. These hurricanes, when they get to that extremely highest end intense value, they have a hard time sustaining it, and the eye goes through what we call an eye wall replacement cycle. Think of it as the really intense eye has been running hard and it just needs a break, and so it kind of takes a breather, then a new one starts to take over. But what that does is it expands the wind field even farther out. So yeah, not as strong, but now reaching a wider area, and will continue to do so. Computer model still in pretty good agreement, somewhere near Tampa Bay, give or take 50 miles to 100 miles or so. This is Tampa Bay right there. And keep in mind, these do trend and can continue to trend northward or southward until we get landfall by Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. So likely to stay a 5 into tomorrow. And then as it interacts with some drier air that gets wrapped into it, it'll slowly weaken a little bit, but remain significant. And some wind shear will cut off the storm a little bit as well. So probably a category 3 upon landfall. And that's going to be Wednesday night on into the early morning hours on Thursday with some winds of 125 miles per hour. Thereafter, it remains a hurricane as it crosses the Florida Peninsula and emerges in the Atlantic before pushing eastward and weakening thereafter. Now, the biggest concern with all of these systems is the water level above ground level. And the peak storm surge with this is likely to be 10 to 15 feet from Tampa Bay, Clearwater, St. Pete, all the way down to Inglewood. And even the Fort Myers area could have 6 to 10 feet of storm surge. That's the water level above the ground. And this could last for several hours. And it's because of these onshore winds. So you look how, as the hurricane approaches, the wind blows pretty much perpendicular to the land at certain times. And when you get that perpendicular flow, that's when the wind surge or the storm surge is the worst. For example, 1 a.m. Thursday morning, direct onshore wind here near Captiva Island and Inglewood. In turn, that's when the water would likely be pushing inland more than earlier. Now, what's protecting us from this hurricane is this upper level high over North Texas. Clockwise circulation around it, it's blocking, and it's keeping that action away from us. We actually have a few little improvements to talk about. Morning temperatures, low to mid 60s by the middle part of the week. So at least our mornings will become a little more pleasant. However, afternoons, record challenging. Tomorrow, we start the day at 68, 87 at noon, 95 the high temperature, and that would tie the record for the day. Kerrville 91, Beeville 95, Gonzales 94. Check out Carrizo Springs and Cotulla 97. So way above average. Average high is 85. By Wednesday, we're likely to break a record by 2 degrees. We're expecting 96. The record is 94. Then we do temper those highs a little bit back into the lower 90s for the end of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Otherwise, around here, live cam, it's quiet tonight. Not much to talk about. We've had clear skies. We'll have a difficult time building much in terms of clouds over the next 7 to 10 days with what we have going on here. But we're going to keep you updated on Milton in the Gulf.
Okay, Adam, thank you.
All right, the Spurs back in action tonight. The preseason kicks off. Tips off. I should say. Sorry, I'm still in the football mind. How was it out at the Frost Center tonight?
It was great energy. It was fun to see some new faces on the Spurs roster, training camp roster. A lot of them won't make the team, but still exciting to see. They do fall to OKC in their preseason opener. We'll have the highlights coming up. You see CP3 and Wemby looking upon, hoping to get in on the action soon. Plus, Steve Sarkisian provides an update on Quinn Ewers ahead of the Red River rivalry.
Castle. Oh, Castle! He was the king in his castle that time.
Rookie Stephon Castle with the poster dunk in his preseason debut in Big Board Sports. Tonight, the San Antonio Spurs open their preseason schedule against OKC inside Frost Bank Center. Chris Paul, Victor Wembanyama among the 6 Spurs who didn't suit up today. Word is Wemby will play on Wednesday, though. NBA champion Harrison Barnes making his Spurs debut. First quarter, Barnes with the give and go, and he sees Julian Champagnie wide open in the corner, passes it, and Champagnie buries it. He was 6 of 13 from long range tonight. Third frame now. San Antonio's 2024 lottery pick, Stephon Castle, throws it down. One and done out of UConn, making his presence known in the NBA. Final from Frost Bank, Thunder 112, Spurs 107. Champagnie led San Antonio with 22 points. Sandro Mamukelashvili had a great game too, added 14 points. Now after the game, the Spurs said they wanted to play more physical.
One preseason down, 4 to go. Big difference between the first and the second. I thought we were we weren't very physical. We kind of followed them around. I thought they were more aggressive. Their physicality was better in the first half, and we changed that in the second half.
The first half, it was kind of like you haven't played in a long time. You're trying to figure out. A lot of guys go in, their legs are a little heavier. Pop got mad. So that also changes a lot of stuff. So in the second half, we came out there and played more physical.
Playing more physical. The offensive end of the floor will take care of itself. Obviously, we have guys who didn't play today who are big offensive scorers. So that'll take care of itself. We'll get in the rhythm with that.
The Spurs will aim to bring the physicality when Orlando comes to town. It'll be another 7 o'clock tip-off on Wednesday. The Dallas Cowboys overcame its growing injury list late last night into early this morning, defeating the Steelers in Pittsburgh despite losing the turnover battle. Dallas is now undefeated in road games, but winless at home after coming into the season on a 16-game winning streak at AT&T Stadium in the regular season. Resilience has been the word to describe this year's Cowboys team, and they'll need more of it as the injuries keep piling up, especially with Detroit up next, set out for revenge.
We got to win a home game. We used to be pretty good at home, so we got to win a home game. We've been really stressing the importance of winning on the road, and we're off to a good start. But we need to get our first home win.
Through week 5, the Houston Texans sit second in the AFC at 4-1 behind the Chiefs, who remain undefeated after beating the Saints tonight. But moving forward, Houston may be without the NFL's leading receiver, Nico Collins. Collins is week to week with a hamstring injury. He left the game against the Bills after scoring on a 67-yard reception in the first quarter. Head coach D'Amico Ryans didn't directly answer when asked if Collins would play Saturday. His answer, however, sounded as if Collins will miss some time.
Nico, he's in good spirits. Of course, with the hamstring, it takes a couple weeks for a hamstring, so we'll evaluate that on a week-to-week basis to see when we can get him back.
The Texans still without running backs Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce. All right, will Quinn Ewers start for #1 Texas this Saturday? Steve Sarkisian provides an update after the break.
Quinn worked last week for 3 practices. He practiced again today. I thought he looked good coming off the bye. I think if anybody benefited from the time off, it was probably him. We're going to monitor him daily just to kind of see how he continues to progress. But I feel good about if how he was today. I feel good about him going Saturday, but that remains to be seen. And I have no hesitation with Arch going in the game.
Arch Manning started the last 2 games and led Texas to wins over Louisiana Monroe and Mississippi State, while starter Quinn Ewers has been out with an oblique strain. As it stands now, Ewers is on track to start at QB this Saturday when the top-ranked Longhorns clash against number 18 Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. This time, though, as SEC foes.
For the very first time.
For the very first
SEC
time.
foes. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the nod.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Today we topped out at 94. Notice that's almost 10 degrees above average, but 5 degrees shy of the record, 99, set back in 1937. And across our area today wasn't very fall-like. We're still waiting on that fall-like air. We're going to have a lot of patience because there's no sign anytime soon within the next 10 days of any cooler air moving our way. But more pleasant mornings will work their way in.
It's something, and that does it for us. Good night.
See you tomorrow.